Edward Truman Beagles, also known as Frank Beagles, was the only child of Edward Beagles and Luann Amos. He was born September 26, 1880 in Indian Territory in Oklahoma. No birth certificates were issued in Oklahoma in 1880, but most of the documents prior to 1926 show him as Frank, while most after that year show him as Edward. As I recall, Granny always called him Frank. For ease of reference, and to keep from confusing him with his father, Frank is the name used in this show. This picture must have been taken in about 1883. Frank's mother, Luann, would be about 27, though she looks younger. The man is her father, but I don't know his given name. Unfortunately, we have no information on Luann's ancestors. Nancy Rachel Salyer was born May 10, 1890 in Kentucky. According to her death certificate, she was born in Luxton, Kentucky, but I haven't found a city or county in Kentucky by that name. Maybe it was actually Lexington. She is the daughter of Louis Salyer and Mary Marshall and one of 12 or more children. We have no pre-marriage pictures of Nancy and none of her parents, but the next slide is a good one of her father and stepmother. On March 2, 1908, Frank, 27, married the love of his life, Nancy Rachel Salyer, 18, in Claremore, Oklahoma. This union lasted until Frank's death, November 20, 1961. Notice the marriage license shows his name as Frank. Frank was an only child, but Nancy was one of 12 or more children. Following are pictures of some of her siblings, nieces, and nephews. George died in the 1918 flu pandemic, discussed later in this show. After Frank and Nancy's marriage, they usually lived with or near Frank's parents, Edward and Luann. The next picture was taken at the rear of the wagon they all used when following the harvest. They actually traveled all the way from Oklahoma to Washington State in this wagon in 1911, when Frank and Nancy's son Albert was born. During most of this period, though, they lived in Oklahoma. Frank had to register for the draft in 1918 during World War I. Though he was 38 with 4 kids and a pregnant wife, he was ordered to report for duty November 12, 1918. Fortunately, the armistice was signed November 11, 1918, ending the war. Note that his name here is also shown as Frank. "1918 was a tough year for the world. In addition to World War I, an influenza pandemic hit. An estimated 675,000 Americans died to the flu, 10 times as many as were lost in World War I. Myrtle, 4, her grandfather Edward, 61, and her uncle George Salyer, 30, all caught the flu. George was the only one to die from it. Myrtle had crossed eyes, though, from then until, at age 81, while getting cataract surgery, the doctor repaired her crossed eyes. Around 1920, when the last picture was taken, Frank was using his team of mules to pull brush when he was bitten by a copperhead snake. His arm swelled to his shoulder and he was in severe pain, but he survived. On February 24, 1920, while taking the 14th census of the United States, the census taker found the Beagles family in Osage County, Oklahoma. The parents' names are shown as Frank and Nancy. The kids at the time were Floyd, Albert, Lily, Myrtle, Freddie, and Arthur. Frank's parents are just below them on the same page. As you can see, Frank's birthplace is shown as Oklahoma. Nancy's birthplace is shown as Kentucky. All the kids except Albert were born in Oklahoma. Albert's birthplace is shown as Washington. In 1924, Frank's father, Edward, went to Haskell, Oklahoma to visit his sister. He had a heart attack and died there May 22, 1924. The only thing Edward had left of significant value was 10 acres with a cabin near Chelsea, Oklahoma. In preparation for their move to New Mexico, Frank, Nancy, and Luann sold this January 30th, 1926 for $150. Notice the deed shows Frank's name as E.D. Beagles. In 1926, they took the Beagles kids to the Barnum and Bailey Circus. Grandma talked Nancy into spending $1 on the next picture. In 1927, Frank, Nancy, and Luann sold everything they couldn't move, including the molasses they had made from a good crop of sugar cane. They bought a chain-drive truck and loaded everything, including Mom, Dad, Grandma, and 8 kids, and headed west. They worked their way across picking cotton and wound up in Yesa, New Mexico. Grandma Luann died on a cold spring night, March 17, 1929, in the tent they were living in. She was buried here in the Yesa Cemetery. Her marker is gone now, as is most of the town of Yesa. In Yesa, Frank, Floyd, and Ab got jobs on a road crew building Highway 60 from Yesa to Vaughn. Nancy and Myrtle cooked for the road crew. Lily took care of the younger kids. In June of 1929, Frank filed for homestead on 640 acres near a now non-existent community known as Ramon. When the census taker showed up in 1930, the Beagles family was living on their homestead. This is the first document I've found that shows Frank as E.T. Beagles. The children at home were Myrtle, Fred, Arthur, Rose, and Bertha, but just above them, Lily is shown with Jean Hicks. The interesting thing about this census is the number of relatives in the same precinct. In addition to the Beagles family, we find William and Annie Kuykendall and their kids, Claude Kuykendall and family, Marion and Pearl Kahn with their children, Clyde Kuykendall alone, and Roy Salyer with his wife and son. Again, Frank's birthplace is shown as Oklahoma and Nancy's as Kentucky. This picture was taken in front of the first house Frank built out of scraps scavenged from other abandoned homesteads. There was no plumbing or electricity, and the only source of water they had was gyp water they hauled from a neighbor's well. In the spring of 1932, 15-year-old Fred and 12-year-old Artie were taking care of their brother Floyd's homestead house. It was a cold night, and they built up the fire in the sheet metal stove before going to bed. Maybe they built the fire too big, or maybe the wind blew the fire back into the house. No one knows. In any event, the house was consumed by fire by the time Fred woke up. He dragged his brother to the door, but when he turned him loose to open it, Artie, scared and confused, ran back into the fire before Fred could stop him. Fred, though severely burned, walked 3 miles for help, but Artie was beyond saving. In the early 1950s, Frank and Nancy moved to Northern California to live close to family that worked in the sawmills there. They lived there until Frank's death in 1961. The next picture shows Frank behind one of the redwood tree logs. Frank was born on September 26, 1880. Coincidentally, he also had two grandchildren born on September 26th, Ellen Kuykendall and Truman Hicks. This picture shows them at their combined birthday party, September 26, 1961. This would have been one of the last pictures taken of Frank before he died November 20th, 1961. Rose and Lee's kids have an especially close connection to Myrtle and Leland's kids. They're double cousins. You see, Rose's sister Myrtle married Lee's twin brother Leland, hence double cousins. With every generation, the family pictures get more and more dispersed. Fortunately, by converting them to digital images, we're able to bring these pictures back together for all to enjoy. By labeling the pictures, we increase the chances of them being preserved for future generations. All of the pictures here have been scanned from old photos. Many were severely damaged, as the next slides show, but have been repaired so they can still bring back memories. All of these pictures and more are posted on the Leland and Myrtle Kuykendall family website. If you are able to scan your old photos, you can upload them to the site for all to view. If you don't have access to a scanner, I would be happy to scan them for you. I promise to return your pictures promptly. Once the pictures are scanned, I will both post them online for all to view and use them in the next slideshow. There is also a link from the family website to the family tree. To maintain everyone's privacy, the website can only be viewed by members. However, there is no charge to become a member. Just send me your email address. We owe a special thanks to the following people for contributing these pictures: Myrtle Kuykendall, Bertha Coran, Janice Kuykendall, and Dan Hicks. With a close connection between the Beagles and Kuykendall families, some pictures have also come from Bruce Elliott, Shirley Birch, and Lola Beck.